evening and welcome to the news live on Rupavahini channel I. I'm Sharon Mascarenas.
A very good evening. I'm Dishan Veerakone and we start off by taking a look at your top stories for tonight.
Power supply is to be restored within an hour. A committee to inquire into the power breakdown. A list of 50,000 graduates who have received employment has been issued. The job provision program has come under the supervision of the President. The Prime Minister and several ministers assume duties in several ministries. A plan to fulfill the medicinal requirement of the country in the next 5 years. The highest number of corona infections and deaths has been reported from India in the past 24 hours.
Now moving on to those and other stories in detail. The chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Vijitha Herath, says that 80% of power distribution has been restored and the power outage throughout the island will be completely rectified at the earliest. He made these comments while briefing on the sudden power outage that occurred in the country today.
This afternoon, this happened at the Kerolapitiya grid substation. There one failure occurred. Due to that, 300 megawatt Kerolapitiya power plant and 900 megawatt Norachole FIFO. Then, because this consisting main part more than around 50% of power supply, then this was to tip off the other power plants also. Then our team start restoration work. Similar countrywide blackout happened in last similar incident happened in 2016. There from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock it took to restore the power, and our team today also our team continuously work. Now actually most of the part they have recovered, restored the power around you can say 80%, and other parts also now they are working on. Within a couple of hours they will be able to restore the whole power supply. Anyhow, we need to have a thorough investigation to find out the reasons and also to avoid such incidents in the future.
Now, Chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Vijitha Herath, says that 80% of power supply in the island has been restored. He further says that it is possible to completely restore power supply in an hour's time. Meanwhile, Minister of Power Dallas Alhaperma says that a special committee has been appointed to inquire into the power breakdown. As a result of a power failure at the Kerolapitiya grid substation, electricity supply in the entire country has collapsed. Chairman of the board, Vijitha Herath, further said that measures are underway for the speedy restoration of power in all parts of the country. Minister of Power Dallas Alhaperma has arrived at the Office of Main Operations of the Ceylon Electricity Board this afternoon to look into the situation. The minister, upon inquiry of the national television, said that a special committee has been appointed to look into the power breakdown. The minister has expressed his regrets over the unexpected power breakdown today. He added that after personally observing the situation, he has instructed his secretary to appoint a special committee to look into the power suspension. He added that it is their responsibility to see that such incidents should not take place in the future. The minister further said that he should receive the committee report within a week.
In other stories, the Ministry of Provincial Councils and Local Government has issued today the list of names of 50,000 graduates who have received employment. Relevant details could be obtained through website pubad.gov.lk. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, within few weeks upon assuming duties as president last November, has devised plans to provide employment to 50,000 graduates and 100,000 low-income earners. Accordingly, applications were called from graduates in the first week of last February. A multi-purpose development task force has also been established to deploy a workforce of 100,000 low-income earners. However, upon declaration of the 2020 parliamentary election, the program to provide 150,000 jobs had to be temporarily suspended on the instructions of the chairman of the Election Commission. All job recipients should report to their nearest divisional secretariat to receive appointments on the 2nd of next month. Now, the Secretary of the Ministry of Provincial Councils and Local Government, J.J. Ratnasiri, said that some of the applications have been removed as these applications were engaged in employment in the private sector. He also said that problems have arisen regarding the validity of degree qualifications of some applicants. Such problems have been forwarded to the UGC. Programs are underway to provide a methodology training.
දිනේ පිළිබඳව යම් යම් ගැටලු සහගත තත්ත්වයන් තිබුණා. ඒවා UGC එකට දැනටමත් යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ පිළිබඳව තොරතුරු ලැබුණයින් පසුව අවසන් තීරණයක් ගැනීම සඳහා తాවකාලික ලේඛනයක් වශයෙන් වෙනම වෙබ් අඩවියේම සඳහන් කරලා තියෙනවා. ක්‍රමානුකූලව මේ අයට පුහුණුවක් ලබා දීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය වැඩසටහන අපි සකස් කරගෙන යනවා. ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍යාංශය සහ අනිකුත් දෙපාර්තමේන්තු අමාත්‍යාංශ සමග සම්බන්ධීකරණය කරමින් ඒ අයට පෞද්ගලිකාංශයේ විවිධ අත්දැකීම් ලබා ගැනීම සඳහාත් අවස්ථාව ලබා දීම ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමන් විසින් යෝජනා කරනු ලබලා තියෙනවා. මේ අනුව මේ පුහුණු වීම ලබා දීම අවසන් වීමෙන් පසුව වසරකින් පසුව මේ අයට ස්ථිරපත් වීම ලබා දීමේ වැඩපිළිවෙලක් එනවා. යම් කෙනෙක් මීට පෙර කැඳවීමේ ලිපියක් ලැබිලා මොනවා හෝ හේතුවක් නිසා ඒක නොලැබුණු බවට දැනුම් දෙනවා නම් ඒ අයට පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා තමන්ගේ නාම ලේඛනයේ කුමන ලේඛනයක තියෙනවද කියලා බලලා ඒකට හේතුව හොයා බලන්න. යම් කිසි වැරදීමකින් ඒ දේවල් සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා නම්
some of the graduates who have received employment have expressed their opinion. The deployment of low-income recruits is to be carried out through the Multipurpose Development Task Force, which is to be implemented with effect from the 2nd of next month.
In the meantime, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has inquired the program to provide 150,000 jobs scheduled to be implemented with effect from the 2nd of next month at a meeting with the relevant officials at the President's Secretariat today. There are 51,135 persons who are eligible to receive graduate appointments. The President has instructed officials to deploy the graduates in the relevant fields according to the syllabuses they have followed. The President has also focused the attention of the officials to select the group that is suffering most from poverty when selecting 100,000 low-income owners for jobs in each Gram Seva division. The President has also reiterated on the need of on-the-job training to overcome shortcomings and weaknesses in the state service. Vacancies in 24 professions are to be fulfilled through recruitment of 100,000 low-income owners. The recruits are to be trained by the Apprenticeship Board. President's Secretary P.B. Jayasundara and other officials were also present on this occasion.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa assumed duties in his ministerial portfolios today. Several cabinet and state ministers also commenced their duties today. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa commenced duties as Minister of Finance at the ministry this morning. A group including several new ministers has also graced the occasion. Assuming of duties has taken place amid spirit chanting and all religious observances were also conducted. The Premier also assumed duties today as the Minister of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs. A brief ceremony in this connection was held at the Ganga Rama Viharaya. Several government ministers have also attended the event. The Prime Minister was engaged in duties after religious observances. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa also commenced duties as the Minister of Urban Development and Housing at his ministry in Rupavahini today. The Premier, addressing the officials on this occasion, said that by the year 2015, Colombo had become the fastest developing city in Asia. However, Colombo city had faced a setback since then. The Prime Minister further said that now they have a bigger responsibility not only to develop Colombo but the entire country.
එතනින් එහාට ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න කියන වගකීම තියෙනවා ඔබට. එදා කොළඹ නගරය ගැන අපි කතා කරා. මොකද අද අපිට කතා කරන්න වෙන්නේ කොළඹ නගරය ගැන පමණක් නෙවෙයි. මුළු ලංකාවම ගැන. ඉතින් විශාල වගකීමක් මේ අමාත්‍යාංශය තුළට ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි බලන්න ඕන අපේ යුතුයකම වෙන්නේ මිනිසුන්ට අපේ අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන් විය යුතු ඉහළම සේවය අපි ලබා දිය යුතු තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි ජනතා අපේක්ෂාව.
Irrigation Minister Chamal Rajapaksa also commenced duties at his ministry. Ministers and several others were present at this occasion. Chamal Rajapaksa also commenced duties as the State Minister of Internal Security, Home Affairs and Disaster Management today. Foreign Affairs Minister Dinesh Gunawardena also assumed duties at his ministry today. Cabinet Minister of Industries Vimal Veeramansa was also engaged in duties at his ministry today through performing of religious rites. Minister of Energy Udaya Gammanpilla also commenced duties today. Several ministers were also present at this occasion. Ramesh Patirana also commenced duties as the Minister of Plantation Industries at his Setsiripaya today. Minister of Justice Ali Sabri assumed duties as the Minister of Justice today. State Minister Dayasiri Jayasekara also commenced duties today in the capacity of State Minister of Batiks, Handlooms and Local Government Products. Former President Maithripala Sirisena and others were present at this occasion. State Minister Prasanna Ranavira has also commenced duties today. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was also present at this occasion. Prasanna Ranavira is the new State Minister of Cane, Brassware, Clay, Furniture and Rural Industrial Promotion. State Minister of Vehicle Regularization, Bus Transportation Services, Railway Compartments and Motorcar Industries, Dilum Amunugama has also commenced duties today. Former Minister Sarat Amunugama was also present. Priyankara Jayaratna also commenced duties as the State Minister of Foreign Employment Promotion and Market Diversification at the Labour Ministry today. Anuradha Jayaratna also commenced duties as the State Minister on Rural Paddy Lands and Related Reservoirs, Lakes and Irrigation Development. A group including Minister Chamal Rajapaksa also graced the occasion. Kanaka Herath also assumed duties as the State Minister of Plantation Company Reforms, Crops related to tea plantation, modernization of tea factories and tea export promotion. Shehan Semasinghe also assumed duties as the State Minister of Samurdhi, Home Economy, Microfinance, Self-Employment, Entrepreneur Development and State Resources Development. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa also attended the event. Roshan Ranasinghe has also commenced duties as the State Minister of Land Management, State Enterprises and Development of Lands and Properties. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa also attended the event. New State Minister of Promotion of Indigenous Medicine, Development of Rural and Ayurvedic Hospitals and Community Health has also assumed duties today. Meanwhile, Minister of Foreign Relations Dinesh Gunawardena says that the country's diplomatic missions abroad expect to take necessary steps to establish strong relations with the other nations as well as Sri Lankans living overseas. Foreign Relations Minister further said that the nation's foreign service will commit to fulfill the policy framework of the incumbent government headed by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, mandated by the public again at the last general election. He made these remarks while addressing a gathering at the ministry today after assuming duties in his ministerial portfolio.
Firstly, to convey my sincere appreciation of His Excellency the President's decision to entrust me with the Foreign Ministry once again to defend our motherland, our independence, sovereignty, and our national security and the unitary state, which is one of the most important areas where the Foreign Ministry is involved. Secondly, to make success of the prosperity program His Excellency has placed before the country. He has got his second mandate, an overwhelming strong mandate, unprecedented in the parliamentary electoral history of our country, I would say. We need a strong government because nationally and internationally, a strong and stable government will attract support, trust, confidence internationally to our country, which the people have given the mandate to His Excellency the President and the Prime Minister. And we, the Foreign Ministry, will dedicate ourselves, commit ourselves, work ourselves in order to fulfill the new task. A friendship in difficulty and happiness is our foreign policy right through, an unaligned, neutral, friendly foreign policy as declared by His Excellency the President. We have no enemies, we have all friends. That is how Sri Lanka has achieved its achievements across the world and respect across the world, which we will develop further. The non-aligned movement, where we were pioneers of the non-aligned movement, contributed across all continents. We have friends across the world, and I hope our diplomatic missions, we shall be able to make the necessary steps to bring not only the friendship with all those countries, but also with Sri Lankans who are abroad across the world. We will also have to consider the new areas entrusted to us, especially the Department of Commerce that has been brought in, which can play a very important role, because post-COVID-19 is different to pre-COVID-19. The world has changed. The world keeps on changing. There is a recession across the world. Therefore, the challenges have to be overcome with all the support of other relevant ministries and departments. And therefore, this department will also have to play a new, very effective role to increase our exports, to increase our investments, and to take our entrepreneurs to the other countries of the continents. Our citizens are our citizens. His Excellency the President treats all and invites all to join with the official government policy. I must be very clear that the official government policy has to be pursued by all officials. This is an important area where, when it comes to the Foreign Ministry, too, it is a very important aspect that all our foreign service, as well as other related services that work with us, should also deeply commit themselves, which will be the way forward for our nation.
Now, in more local stories, the Presidential Task Force for the Elimination of Poverty and Economic Rejuvenation says that the requirement of medicine in the country in the next 5 years will be fulfilled. Chairman of the task force, Basil Rajapaksa, says that the government has focused attention to enhance drugs manufacturing, targeting exports. He made these remarks at a discussion with MPs and ministers representing the health sector and government officials at the Temple Trees this afternoon. He further said that the country has to incur heavy expenditure to import 85% of the medicinal requirement. He also said that plans are underway to open factories to fulfill the export targets with the assistance of private investors. Minister Pavitra Wanyarachi and State Minister Channa Jayasumana and Secretary of the Ministry of Health Major General Sanjeeva Munasinghe were among those who have attended the meeting.
Jagat P. Vijayveera, who has been appointed as the Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media, assumed duties at the ministry in Polengura this morning. The new Secretary commenced duties giving priority to religious observances. He has 35 years of experience in the administrative service. The new Secretary earlier held high-ranking positions in several institutions, including Secretary to the Ministry of Law and Order. Jagat P. Vijayveera obtained his first degree from the Kelaniya University and thereafter the postgraduate degree in International Studies from the Colombo University. Additional secretaries of the ministry, heads of media institutions and officials of the Government Information Department were also present at this occasion. A meeting between the officials of the Media Ministry and affiliated institutions took place after the ceremony. Secretary to the Ministry of Mass Media, Jagat P. Vijayveera, said that they should not become the mouthpieces of certain institutions or persons. He added that the media should become the mouthpiece of millions of innocent people. The Secretary added that the mass media should also become the trumpet of the development of the country. He called upon all to become trumpeters of development, coexistence and promoters of social and religious revival. The newly appointed Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Professor Kapila Pereira, has also assumed duties at the Education Ministry in Battaramulla this morning. He has been functioning earlier as the Vice-Chancellor of the Moratuwa University as well as the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering at the university. Professor Kapila Pereira was graduated from the Moratuwa University and also obtained a doctorate from the University of California. State Minister Vijitha Berugoda was also present on this occasion. Now, the number of fully recovered from the COVID-19 disease has increased to 2,676. Only 208 patients are continuously receiving treatment. 19 COVID patients were reported from the island today. They were all those who have arrived from Oman. 629 patients have been identified at the Kandakadu Treatment and Rehabilitation Center. Out of this number, 484 patients have been fully recovered. As a percentage, this amounts to 76.94. Only 145 patients remain at this center. Percentage of the fully recovered patients is 92.43%. Only 7.18% of patients are continuously receiving treatment. 1,080 PCR tests were conducted yesterday. So far, 185,118 PCR tests have been conducted. A group has ended quarantine at the Army Quarantine Center in Periyakadu, Vavuniya today. The group that left for their homes was comprised of 120 persons. 79 persons subjected to self-quarantine in Lankapura have also entered their quarantine. They included persons from 16 families in villages of Debarella and Tunsiya Dahat Gama. Provision of 30,000 face masks to the Ceylon Transport Board has taken place today through the assistance of the Chinese government. Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Hu Wei, handed over the consignment of face masks to the chairman of the CTB, Kingsley Ranawaka. A poster exhibition to enlighten the bus passengers on the COVID-19 disease has also commenced at the head office of the CTB today. The Haddon Kottagalam Mount Vernon Tea Factory has been successful in receiving the certificate issued by the Bureau of Standards for the first tea factory in the world which has manufactured tea powder adhering to the Corona health protection methodologies. The certificate has been presented upon an observation of nearly 2 months over the following of accepted health guidelines.
Now, in more stories here at home, the former President and Prime Minister who were in charge of security at the time of the Easter Sunday terrorist attack have been informed by the Presidential Commission investigating the incident to appear before the Police Investigation Unit. Accordingly, former President Maithripala Sirisena, who held the post of defence at that time, to appear before the police investigation unit inquiring into the Easter attacks on the 26th of this month. This was to obtain a statement regarding the security situation at the time of the Easter Sunday attack. The then State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena has also been informed to appear before the police investigation unit tomorrow. Former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe as well as former Minister of Law and Order Sagar Ratnayaka have also been notified to be present before the Presidential Commission of Police Investigation Unit on the 21st of this month. Now, a laboratory employee attached to the department of the government analyst has been taken into custody with a stock of heroin in Rupavahini, Aturugiriya yesterday. He was nabbed by the Aturugiriya police station. The Kaduwal magistrate has granted permission to detain and interrogate the suspect till the 28th of this month. The police says that another employee suspected to have been involved in the drug ring has been identified. The police, upon information received, has recovered 18 grams and 730 milligrams of heroin in his possession. The contraband was concealed in his motorcycle. The police further says that the suspect is a resident in Mathura. Investigations are underway to find out whether there were other employees of the department connected to the incident. In a joint operation conducted by 4 police stations including Ambalangoda and Urugasman Handia, 2 heroin racketeers and 2 dealers have been arrested. The police say 6 grams of heroin and cash amounting to 250,000 rupees were found in their possession. The Ambalangoda police station has arrested 5 persons including a woman who were engaged in heroin racketeering through the easy cash method. A raid has been conducted using strategic persons based on information provided by intelligence officials. It has been possible to recover 3 grams and 75 milligrams of heroin from their possession.
Now, the 9th Parliament of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka will commence on the 20th of this month. Today's feature on our news bulletin focuses on the 3rd and 4th Parliaments of Sri Lanka since the year 1978. The theme in the first half of the 90th decade, people's protest over the UMP rule, had surfaced. All leftist progressive forces had been campaigning together against the repression. SLFP MPs such as Mahinda Rajapaksa were involved in implementing the Padayatras and public protests. As a result, by the year 1994, all leftist progressive forces were under one umbrella in order to topple the 17 years of UMP rule. Accordingly, at the parliamentary election of the 16th of August 1994, the Podujana Eksat Peramuna, led by the SLFP, had 105 parliamentary seats. The UMP received only 95 seats. The Sri Lanka Muslim Congress had won 4 seats, and there was one independent MP, Chandrika Bandanayake Kumaratunga, who had become the Prime Minister. She had also won the presidential election held in the same year. Sirimao Bandanayake was the Prime Minister. Upon retirement of Sirimao Bandanayake in the year 2000, Ratnasiri Wickremesinghe was appointed as the Prime Minister. He was also the leader of the House of Parliament. Opposition leader was Gamini Dissanayake. Later on, Ranil Wickremesinghe became the opposition leader. KB Ratnayake had functioned as the Speaker. Chief Government Whip was Richard Pathirana. Vijayapala Mendis and WJM Lokubandara had functioned as the chief opposition organisers. Several commissioners had been appointed to look into many killings that had taken place during the UMP regime. They included the Batalanda torture chamber and the Vijay Kumaratunga murder. The 3rd Parliament, which had prevailed for 5 years and 11 months, was dissolved on the 18th of August in the year 2000. In the parliamentary election held on the 10th of October 2000, the Podujana Peramuna had won 107 seats. The UMP had won only 89 seats. Ratnasiri Wickremesinghe had functioned as the Prime Minister of the government, which was formed through an alliance with the National Unity Alliance, which won 4 seats in Parliament. Anura Bandaranaike, who had contested through the UMP, was appointed unanimously as the Speaker of Parliament. The Deputy Speaker was Sarath Munasinghe. The opposition leader was Ranil Wickremesinghe. However, by the middle of the year 2001, the government was in the midst of a political crisis. As a result of a group of government MPs joining the opposition, the threat of a no-confidence motion had arisen. As a result, then-President Chandrika Bandanayake Kumaratunga had dissolved the Parliament on the 10th of October 2001. In today's feature on Parliament, we focus attention on the 5th and 6th Parliaments of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka.
In the meantime, attention of the government has been focused on the revision of curriculum development and teaching methodologies. A series of programs is scheduled to be implemented for obtaining advice in this connection. This was disclosed at a discussion at the Ministry of Education, presided over by the Minister of Education, Professor G.L. Pires. Provincial governors, state ministers Vijitha Berugoda, specialist physician Dr. Sita Arambepola and P.L. Nishanta, as well as high-ranking officials of the Ministry of Education have also attended the event. Development of syllabuses is to be carried out through coordination of principals, teachers, parents, students, government officials and civil society organizations. It has also been discussed in depth at the meeting on the relationship between subject matter and employment, and also on vocational education.
The 82nd feast of the Our Lady of Snows, which was celebrated at St. Philip Neri's Church by the Saviour of Bharata people, was commenced yesterday. Flag hoisting ceremony had taken place on Friday the 8th of this month. Daily prayers, novenas and masses were offered. Yesterday the feast high mass was offered. The processions had also taken place at Our Lady of Snows Church. President of the Bharata Association, Lawrence Fernando, and Vice President Edmund Fernando have also participated. Reverend Father Nesam and Reverend Father Michael conducted the services. Blessings of the Mother Mary was extended to all.
And that's a wrap of tonight's Primetime News, and until we meet again next time, do take care and good night.
Good night.